So it finished at Kingsmeadow, Chelsea 0, Arsenal 0. Really, really tight, very, very nervy, but very, very entertaining game between the two best teams in the league. I think that's what you saw tonight. Different kind of performance from Arsenal tonight, I'd say, than what you usually see, obviously, against a team with the quality of Chelsea, but very, very defensively compact. I asked Jonas Eidevall about that, about the team's compactness, and he said it's hard to defend when you're having to move a lot. And he said that his team talked about having the right positional play, particularly off the ball. And I think they really did tonight. Chelsea threw harder, Kirby, started them all. And they didn't get that much change out of Arsenal. Obviously, a team with the quality of Chelsea, they did create a couple of chances, so did Arsenal. I think a draw was probably a fair result in that respect. But in terms of Arsenal's selection, they went with all the big guns as well in an attacking sense. Jonas did drop Vivian Miedema into the number 10 and play Blackstenius up front. And he said that part of that was because he felt that one of the lessons learned from the defeat at Wembley was that he felt Arsenal needed a more obvious midfield structure. So he really wanted to play with 2 sixes, but he really wanted a 10 as well. And he thought that the way that Vivian Miedema kind of shows for the ball, comes short for the ball, was a real kind of release valve. Particularly from Chelsea's pressure, but the way she kind of gets on the ball in the centre circle, gets turned and turns defence into attack. He felt that would be really, really useful, and we saw some great passes from her tonight. And also with the way that Stina Blackstenius runs in behind and tries to stretch defenders. Obviously Chelsea play quite a high line defensively, as you'd expect from quite an attacking team, particularly at home, and he felt that Stina could really stretch them with her running. And particularly the way that Stina kind of leant over towards the right-hand side, and Beth Mead was coming in field quite a lot, and those two were not quite swapping positions but combining, and we had a bit of an overload on the right tonight, which I spoke about after the Manchester United game when we saw Frida Marnham come on, and she kind of went over onto the right and created a bit of an overload over there. We know all about Arsenal's left-sided overload, but the last couple of games we've seen something like that on the right as well. I think to keep opponents guessing a little bit more, but really, really strong point tonight. Arsenal really close to scoring with about 6 minutes to go from a Frida Marnham free kick and a goalmouth scramble, and Chelsea scrambled the ball away off of the goal line. However, Chelsea could have had a penalty in stoppage time for a handball by Leah Williamson. I haven't seen it back and I was at the other end of the ground, but my instinct at the time was that could have been given. They're kind of, I don't think anyone really knows what handball is anymore, but it's one of those I think could have been given. So, and again, Jonas was asked about that afterwards, but he said he felt Caitlin Ford should have had a penalty in the first half, and maybe she should have. But nevertheless, 0-0 draw, I think a good point for Arsenal. They keep their 2-point lead at the top of the WSL. However, Chelsea do have that game in hand, so it is still in Chelsea's hands. However, Arsenal now, in terms of their running, they've played all of the top 4 now. So they've played Manchester United, Manchester City and Chelsea twice. They've taken 12 points from those 18 points available compared to last season when they took only 4 from those games. So big improvement in these big games. And not many teams come to Kingsmeadow and keep Chelsea as quiet as Arsenal did tonight. And Arsenal did, I think, carry some threat on the counter-attack as well. So all in all, I said before the game I'd take a point, and in the circumstances I'm happy to take it and keep going, because I do think Arsenal have got quite a good run in. Chelsea play Manchester United at home, I believe, on the final game of the season, and that's their only other game against, one of the big 4 in the league. So it's squeaky bum time in the WSL title race.